Hey there YouTube, I'm Yukitsu, this is the Yukitsu Times, welcome to my channel. I'm here for a little bit of redemption and I really want those guns, just because, basic guns are one of those things that would have helped me out in that last game as well. Just because if he wants to run in with the close range shotguns, he has to get in range of my guns, and usually I'll come out ahead in those exchanges. But also because they're very useful against melee rush armies, they're useful against a wide variety of things, so I really want them. Also, I have to make up for that last absolutely awful match there. And this one is on Crossroads. This one's a relatively flat, even map. This one's pretty good for cavalry, so I'm going to do something a little bit different here. This one I'm going to go with, I don't have any veteran cavalry, what am I thinking? This one I'm going to go with Yari cavalry instead of what I had before. I'm going to get rid of these guys, take 2 of them, and I'm going to take 3 of these guys. Just because I want to change things up a little bit and use an army that's a little bit different. Well, actually, yeah, I'm not too sure how I want to approach this entirely here. The thing is that these guys are very good, but they don't have much sustained fighting power. So let's give that a go with these 2 guys. So this is going to be a little bit of an experimental thing since I'm not entirely too sure. My opponent favors missile infantry. I need to get rid of this thing since I can't use it. I keep forgetting to do that sometimes, so if you see me doing that, don't get too angry. But when your opponent favors missile infantry, usually you just want to sort of get in there and cause as much damage as possible. Sometimes they'll surprise you and do something unexpected, but yeah, this one's a relatively flat map, as you can see. I actually know this one. Don't panic, I know what I'm doing this time. Last map I was just like, But if you've ever watched my tournament games, you'll see my explanation as to how I pick my armies and what I'm doing at any given time. Most of what I do is based on the map that I'm on. So when I don't know what the map is, I'm usually SOL. And that's basically just how I play. My army is usually very tailored to the map in question. So in this particular case, what I want to do is just get over that open field where my opponent's inevitably going to probably kill a lot of my guys with guns, and then get straight into melee with them and hopefully be able to overwhelm them in that melee fight. Typically you're going to see these archer generals have very high veterans spear units of some sort, but hopefully my mobility will help me get around that. Unit sizes are smaller. That makes me a little bit suspicious about what my opponent's up to here. Typically you'll only see that when your opponent's sort of cheesing guns, because it's much more effective on small unit sizes. I don't recommend you do that, it's just teaching you bad habits. But if your opponent is using a lot of guns and you've got smaller unit sizes, your units are going to break much faster, so it favors certain army compositions. It's not really that... I don't really like the practice in general. Anyway, I'm going to hide up some cavalry over there. Hopefully my opponent won't think I'm hiding cavalry since I've got so much up front. And let's see what they've got. Now, what I have to do if my opponent favors missile infantry is try and capture this bow dojo simply to deny it from them. Normally I'd want to go and get the workshop, but since they're level 9, what they're probably using is guns, and that's probably going to be the main thrust of their power, and the guns don't, or the workshop doesn't help at all against those. I need to capture the shrine. So, here my opponent's got red bear infantry. Shogitai, yeah, Shogitai are those excellent melee units. So he doesn't seem to actually have too many guns. That's pretty good. He's also got Kyoto Police. I was completely surprised by the fact that this guy didn't just spam guns, since they favor that kind of infantry. On the other hand, though, that Shogitai infantry is more than a match for my katanas here. He's running his yari key forward here, but I've got spears up front, so I can just push straight through if I need to. My spears are going to make for a decent meat shield if I need that, so I'm not too afraid of them. Yeah, he's skirmishing away with his general. It's to be expected. Gonna have to push him away with my light cav, but he didn't cause too much damage. And he's taking some shots from my general as well, so... Here he's trying to capture the shrine here. I just want to get around the flanks here, and I want to charge these guys with my banzai charge, since that'll give me the advantage I need. Now he's run off. I lost control of these guys for a second, and look what happens. Kind of want to keep these guys in reserve for a little bit longer. Shogitai are probably going to lose just because of the positioning they're in.
Our men are running from the battlefield. Shame for display.
And this is all working out actually pretty darn well for me here. Getting rid of the Shogitai with my No Dachi is pretty good if I can manage it. Problem is that they're I didn't get a good charge with that second unit, so get these spears move forward. Pushed into aggressively into my general here. He might cause a bit of damage, but he's not going to cause enough in this particular case. So that'll be the collapse of his main line there. All he's got left are these Kyoto police, which are not that great. I don't really trust them. And that's basically it, actually. I just need to use this hill, organize my troops until the last second, and I have to make sure that I get rid of these yari. Yari are excellent units. They're very good for their cost. They're very efficient. So getting rid of them is going to be very good, helpful for me. There we go. They're gone. Now at this point I can sort of pick at my opponent's units with my bows. And let's just move up my units in preparation here. I'm kind of wondering why my opponent has set his funds to small or medium, but let's not dwell too much on that. Oh shoot, my general's in the range of that. So I need to charge forward here. I might actually lose at this point just because I've done this fairly poorly. I'm having an off day today, I think, but you know, everyone has their off days. At this point, I've got his general, basically. Gotten charge into his Kyoto police, and that'll change things a little bit. And I'm back. As you can see, I've managed to get pretty close to the next level. I think two more games will do it. 2 more games, especially if they're against those sort of higher level players like I've been getting. Yep, I've got the Matchlock Ashigaru, which is going to be a great help to me, especially with my particular playstyle. So in this particular battle, what sort of went wrong was my opponent took a very sort of strong army that was similar to mine in some respects, in that it was very front-loaded with a very powerful melee unit. Gotten a new armor set as well, it's pretty nice. And when your opponent has those sort of powerful Shogitai units, you really need the correct units to counter it. In general, a powerful unit like that, I want to have something like a highly veteran Katana Samurai. And the reason for that is that these No Dachi Samurai will charge in, they'll do a little bit of damage, but then they'll get absolutely crushed by the remainder since they don't have that sustained melee power, whereas a highly veteran Katana Samurai unit can at least sort of fight on par in the same fashion. And if you've got 2 of them, you'll be able to overwhelm them with numbers. That way you can beat a Shogitai unit with 2 Katana Samurai, whereas with the No Dachi it's much, much more difficult. I do like using the No Dachi, but I was kind of assuming that I'd be using them to charge down gun units, since they'll break on contact if you get a good No Dachi charge. The reason I did not send them against the gun units initially was because those sword units had to be dealt with in some way or another. So, you know, it's one of those trade-off situations. These guys have a very powerful charge, so you need to use them for that charge. Let's go look at their veteran upgrades. As you can see, they've got all these sort of standard things, and you can really improve their charge to ridiculous levels. But adding a little bit of melee attack is probably the smarter move for these particular guys, or melee defense even. I like adding melee defense first, just because it lets them have a little bit of sustained fight power, even though that's not what they're good at. It means that once they do get the charge in, they aren't going to die immediately. Because their melee attack is actually higher than a standard Katana Samurai. This one's veteran twice, but 14 Katana Samurai normally have 12, so that's one way to use them. I like to use them a little bit more defensively. As you can see, it puts their melee defense at almost parity. Their armor is way worse still, but it's less important for the armor. The armor is a little bit less important than melee defense when you're melee, I find. It's hard to say. I've never done a direct unit comparison, so I could be wrong, but in any event, this finally unlocks my Matchlock Ashigaru, which are an excellent unit. I'll show you how to use those in my next game, assuming that it's the correct type of map. The problem with Matchlock Ashigaru, of course, is that depending on the terrain, it might be impossible to use them, so you have to be very careful about what the terrain's like. But if you've got the good terrain, it'll turn out very well in your favor. Anyway, this has been the Yukitsu Times. I hope to see you all next time, and I hope this was informative.